All right, I bought this wagon in 1995 in a suburb of Denver, Colorado, and it is now December of 2018. I put the car up recently on Craigslist, and I'm going to do a walkthrough just so video is a lot better than just some photographs on the internet. I didn't want any misrepresentations of the Subaru. This is a 1985 Subaru GL 1800 wagon. It's a dual range model. So what that means is that it's front wheel drive normally, and then you can shift it into four wheel drive, and it has high and low speeds with the four wheel drive. So this rear gate right here is from a donor car. Years ago I was rear-ended, and this is from a GL10 model, but this wagon is actually a GL. So the GL10 was a model that had, I believe it had power windows, it had some upgrades. This is a standard GL model, manual windows, manual steering, and that type of thing. So the rear gate is from a donor car, and also the front quarter panel, as you can see by the pinstripe, is from a donor car as well. There was a little bit of front end damage as well, and so I replaced that quarter panel. And you can see on the back here, there's some sheet metal rust behind that wheel, and also a little bit of pitting showing through here on this quarter panel, on this front quarter panel. It was probably 15 years ago that I replaced that quarter panel. The hood is the original hood from this GL wagon. Again, now here there's some more rust behind this wheel. And then the front windshield, around the front windshield, there's some evidence of rusting around the front windshield. So I wanted to show that so everybody can see. I'm not trying to hide anything here. Now in the back of this rear wheel as well, there's some rusting through the sheet metal right here. So pretty much behind each tire there's some rusting that's going to need some repair, perhaps. Depends on the new buyer. And you can see the paint is showing the age of the sun. The clear coat is pretty much gone. That's the stock roof rack. And at one time I had some aftermarket racks, and where they clamped on, there's a little bit of damage to the drip rail. The drip rail's a little bit tweaked from the rack that I had. I had a bigger rack over here. I had a bigger rack. I used to have a canoe. I still have the canoe, but I used to have a canoe that I put on the car once in a while. So you can see the drip rail's got a little damage here. Here's the other side where there's some rusting coming through, and that's going to need to be repaired, or just keep it as it is. All right, now in the back, the gas struts are pretty tired, so I use a stick here that I have made to open up and keep the back hatch open. These are original, and they need to be replaced with some aftermarket struts for that. In the back of the wagon, you can see there's quite a bit of room in the back. Right now I've got the seats down in the back. There's quite a bit of room in the back, and these wagons have storage in the sides. And also, I've always really liked it, they've got some storage down here in the bottom. And storage in these side compartments over here too. So there's storage down in the side. I've always liked that about the wagon. Let me get that back in there. Storage over here as well. Here's where the jack is, and Usually the lug wrench is in there too. So there's some storage down in the bottom here underneath the rear deck. And then quite a bit of room in the back here with the seats down. These back seats, fold up. So I'm going to do that in just a moment here. But that's the way that when it's all emptied out in the back, you can fold these seats flat. And then they also come up. And then you fold this, you can see right here there's a little bit of age on the upholstery on the back seat. These seats are in really good condition otherwise. The upholstery is in good condition, but you know, for as old as the car is, you know, there's a little bit of age showing there from, that's probably just wear from when the seat's up in this position. When you put the seat down, then you've got seating for 4 or 5. 4 easily, 5 pretty well too. And there's the back. All the windows work, most everything works. The dome light doesn't work, and also the fan doesn't work in the car. So the fan needs to be I believe it's a relay switch, so I need a new fan relay switch or some work done there. And then the air, then the fan and the heater and the air conditioning should be working again. But right now the fan will not turn on. So that's pretty much the only thing that is not working right at the moment here. Front seat, you can see here, all the windows are manual locks, manual windows. There's been some sun damage on top of this piece of upholstery, the interior on both sides. So I've got a piece of tape across here, and that's gonna, it'd be nice to have an upholstery shop do a little bit of work on these 2 panels on that side and on this side. Otherwise, whatever product they used back in 1985 it's really held up very well. I always have a sunscreen up in here blocking the sun, but really the plastic they used is a very good quality plastic, evidently, because it's really nice condition for being as old as it is. There's a little storage area down in here, and then here's the shifter. 4-wheel drive. This is how you shift in and out of front-wheel drive into 4-wheel drive high or 4-wheel drive low. It's a 5-speed manual transmission. I have replaced the stock stereo with the CD stereo, and I need an amp, or I need an amp and newer speakers, because I found out that the old speakers, which are stock, they don't work really well with the new system. So I need a little bit of stereo work there. These are electric adjustable side mirrors. Let's take a look in the engine. Let's see. Well, like I said, the hood is original, and I kept the hood because for emissions purposes. I needed these stickers, and the car currently is registered in California, and it's smog. Just had it recently smogged. It passed with no problems. It's a real clean engine. From a donor car, I took the complete air conditioning system and put it into this car. You know, it already had accommodated that with the pulleys stock, but I believe it was the GL10 that had the air conditioning. This is a GL, like I said. So from a GL10, I took the air conditioning system and added it to this car, and added the componentry and the different parts of the air conditioning system. The air conditioning system is probably going to need a recharge after the fan is working again, but that's a complete 1985 air conditioning system. And here's where you charge it. And we added the condenser and all the parts that came with the original system from the parts car. I'm going to pull out the spare for a moment here. That's where the spare tire goes. And you can see here, here's the 5-speed transmission. The hill holder feature works just like it should. 5-speed transmission. I also have some fairly new front axles, which are working well. I had to get a couple sets before I found a good set that worked well in the front. The rear axles are the original rear axles, and they're working really well. You can see I try to keep the engine nice and clean and use the proper fluids. Keep an eye on the fluids, and really actually just stay really on top of the mechanics of the car. I've never really cared too much about the paint because I take it out in the desert, I take it in the mountains, go off-roading quite a bit, do some work off-roading with it. But that's the engine. It's a carbureted, non-turbo, 1800 cc, 4-cylinder. Runs nice and smooth, nice and clean. Doesn't get hot. Periodically, I flush the engine itself, and also the cooling system, and keep a real close eye on that. So I'll start it up in just a minute here. I'm going to show you the. I also have 3 more, including that spare. I also have 2 more. Those are called wagon wheels. So I've got a total of 7 wagon wheels for the car. We look here in the driver's side for the condition of the car. See, I'm going to show you the. Okay. Here's the VIN plate with the partial VIN number. 6 of 1985. Like I said, manual locks. Manual windows. Right now we're showing 220,757 miles. This is, the standard gauges. This is the analog. There was a digital version for this car. Maybe that was the GL10 as well. Maybe they had the digital dash. I prefer this analog dash. I think they're more reliable. Simple temperature, oil, voltmeter, and fuel. And here's the lights, the vent, power mirrors. We do have power mirrors. There's a rear defrost. And then here's the controls for, this is the button that I added from the other system. This is the AC button. And then here's the heat and the air and the wipers. Like I said, the fan's not working right at the moment. So the headliner has, it's original. It's original headliner. So the headliner's got some scrapes and some scuffs. And this light and the dome light, the fuses, they're not working. I don't know exactly what the issue is. I don't really worry too much about it. Those are not working. Get in the back here. All right, so that's it. That's a pretty good rundown of everything I can tell you about about my Subaru. I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And start it up here in just a minute. Put the spare back in. Let's see here. These are where I installed the to do the cooling system flushes right here. Okay. All right. I've got some extra headlights in my parts. They're going to go with the car. I actually have a complete second intake system, including the air filters and the air filter and the carburetors all the way. The whole set I'm going to sell with the car, along with the other backup parts that I have. So let's get in here. All right, now I'm in four-wheel drive currently because of where I parked here. I'm actually in four-wheel drive low. So basically shifting in and out of four-wheel drive is right here. Currently I'm in four-wheel low. You can see on the dash up here it shows four-wheel drive. This is an indicator for the passenger side door. It's saying the door's open, but it's really not. And this is the indicator for the rear gate. It's telling us that it's not locked, and that's why this says it's not locked. If I locked it, that will go off. Anyway, let's take a little drive here in four-wheel drive. We're in four-wheel drive low at the moment, and we're in manual. Like I said, this is a manual steering car, which I've always appreciated because it's fewer things that can fail. So like I said, we're in four-wheel drive low right now at the moment, and I'm gonna take a little drive up this way. I'm not sure. I've not been on this road before, so this is new for all of us here. Let's see where we get here. It's a very capable four-wheel drive. Obviously, it's a wagon, so you gotta always be concerned with some clearance issues. Let's see. Pretty good test of the old girl. It's a narrow vehicle, so it's always been nice getting around the city and on the off-road trails and whatnot, because it's so narrow that a lot of times you don't have to get out to do any pruning of bushes and that type of thing, you know. Sometimes out in the deserts you got some pretty hard bushes that you got to prune so you don't scratch your paint, but I don't really worry about the paint anyway on this vehicle. So here we are, we're coming up to the top of the hill. And now to shift out of four-wheel drive, all you do is, let's see how I can do this on the camera. Put it in neutral, make sure that your wheels are going in a forward direction, and then you shift it down into front wheel drive. And now we're out of four-wheel drive. I need to stay in four-wheel drive, so I'm going to pull it forward. Again, you want to have your wheels straight, aligned straight. You don't want to be turning when you're shifting in and out of four-wheel drive. And then you shift, that's four-wheel drive high. And that's four-wheel drive low. So as you can see, people have brought a lot of trash and crap up here, so I'm going to navigate around that. Back in four-wheel drive low right now, and I think I'm going to go back the way that we came. it just doesn't take very long to warm up. Not bad at all. So it just started it a couple minutes ago, and runs great, stays cool, doesn't overheat. I've always kept a close eye on the coolant level and flushed it out frequently. You know, I don't know, every couple of years I give it a thorough flush, and so it just runs great. And one of the challenges I do have with the car still that I wanted to make sure every potential buyer knows about is that I have to disconnect the negative or my battery drains down. I've got a short somewhere. I don't know, I haven't traced it down. So when I stop the car and I park it, I disconnect the battery. Otherwise it'll drain down slowly, and in a few days without driving the car, my battery will be dead. So any potential new owner needs to know about that as well. All right, I'm going to show you the back, how it sounds. That's a custom exhaust that I had built for the car probably 5 years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago now, I forget, but the shop did the exhaust from the back, custom exhaust from the engine back to the muffler. And then I don't know, probably 4 years ago I had to do a new catalytic converter to get it to pass smog. And there's the catalytic converter down there. So I had to shop a trusted shop that I know real well. They actually built the exhaust for the car. So anyway, thanks again for watching. If you have any questions or comments or other concerns, leave them in the bottom of the video down below, and maybe I'll sell the car. Maybe I won't. We'll see. I think the mechanicals have a particular value to perhaps another Subaru owner, maybe who has a better body. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, take care, everybody. Thanks again. Oh yeah, let me show you inside. Here's here's the idling speed. Idles real nicely at about 1,000. And I'm going to go ahead and lock the rear gate. Lock it. There's a switch in there. There's a switch in there, so now you can see the indicator light is off. There's some indicator lights in here, and there's some indicator lights over in here. These are the warning lights, etc. So yeah, that's a pretty complete rundown of the Subaru. Clock doesn't work, and apparently I've seen on some message boards that it's actually it's a pretty common thing to fix, and I think there's even a couple suppliers where you can send your clock in and they redo some part of it, or you know, some kind of little connector that goes out on those. But all right, back on the pavement here. And let's do a little road test. In fourth gear now. see with the camera, but we're in fifth now. And the wagon runs great. If I locked the rear gate, that light would go off. But I always forget to do that. So here we are. All right, there's a little road test for you. That's all for now. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments.